So obviously, as we mentioned before we got into it, it was about 2 months in between your two rankings, February to April. A lot has changed, maybe not, but a lot of games have been played. Not as many as we'd like, but so obviously there's been some movement in your list from your first list to your second list. So who's been the rising star since the time you put your first rankings out in February to the time you compiled your most recent list? Who is kind of shot up the draft board and has made a name for himself?
Biggest one for me was Logan Stankoven. He was ranked on my last list in the second round in the 40s, and now he's jumped up to 14th on my second list here. And he, since the WHL started back up again, he's been amazing playing, with the Kamloops Blazers, and he's a guy that can definitely be a top 20 pick. And I'm not sure why I put him in the second round. Now looking at more tape of him, and I think just based on what he was last year, but this year looks stronger. He's going to the net a lot more, and I think he can definitely be that top 20 pick. And I think Stankoven definitely was he was definitely one of my biggest risers overall. And he's going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, he's definitely gotten off to a great start. I've written about him a couple times in our prospects news and rumors. He's had some big games. Peter, who's been shooting up your personal rankings? Who's someone we need to keep an eye on?
For me, it's not a big rise, but it's from where I had him previously. He is probably going to make a jump. I had Sasha Pastujov at 31 in my March rankings, but with his performance at the BioSteel All-American game where he had 2 goals and 1 assist, he's definitely someone that's really should gain more attention. He's been producing points for the national development team. He's got great speed, great offensive awareness, utilizing his teammates very well as a playmaker. He's not afraid to shoot the puck as well. So he's got a very strong all-around skill set. It wouldn't surprise me if he moves up into the top 20 for me, just based on what he's able to accomplish, not just this year, but I think the BioSteel game really solidified his spot as potentially maybe a top 20, 25 pick.
Alrighty. And Andrew, who's your riser over the past few weeks? Without sharing too much of your new rankings.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just having played D when I was playing hockey, but I'm huge on Corson Coleman's and just what he's been able to do so far. Obviously, he's going to get a chance at the U18s. 11 points in 8 games in his AJHL season so far with the Brooks Bandits. So, he's a guy. He's got size. He's got the ability to be an offensive threat as well as play the body. And I just think he's going to be a force. And he's borderline. I mean, there's folks that have him in the somewhere in the top 20, and then there's folks who have him in the second round. And I know he's just sitting outside the first round on Matt's rankings, but he's a guy that I could see potentially creeping into the 20 to 25 area. Given what he's been able to do so far with this shortened season for him.
For sure. Excuse me. Even though I don't come up with any of these fun lists that you guys do, there's a guy that I've kind of had my eye on. And that's Sebastian Cossa, the goalie from the Edmonton Oil Kings, has just been unreal this year. He's 12-0 right now and just lighting it up. Had another shutout the other night. I always if Wallstedt wasn't in this draft, he would likely be the top goaltender selected. So I'm always intrigued on those types of prospects, on where they go, especially goaltenders. I'm always, as I said, intrigued about where they get picked in the draft, because traditionally you don't use a first round pick on a goaltender. At least that's the unwritten rule. We've seen a little more the last couple of years, but it'll be fun to see if we get 2 goalies in the first round this year. I think he definitely has the ability to do that. It all depends on who's picking and when.